Gemar Simatova. What an incredible zechus it was for myself and my family to be in Eretz Yisrael, nonetheless to be in Yeshivat Hartzion, to be in Yeshiva for the Yom Naram, for Elul, to be part of all of the excitement, all of the avodas Hashem, and ultimately to be part of the awareness at the end of Yom Kippur of Hashem Hu Elokim, Hashem Hu Elokim. An incredible moment it was just hours ago. And as I walked home in Alon Shvut, just as people's forks and knives were clanking against the plates to break their fasts, there was already clanking of beams and poles, sukkahs going up, taking the koach ha'adibur, the koach ha'tfilah of Yomim Noraim, and turning it into koach ha'masa of sukkahs. And in this week's parsha, in the beginning of the parsha, still towards the end of the third aliyah, the Torah recounts all of the incredible chasadim that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has done for us. And one might think logically that the best way to respond to chasadim that HaKadosh Baruch Hu can give us is to double down our efforts to get closer to Him, to want more, and to want to get closer. And unfortunately, the Psukim actually tell us that the exact opposite can happen. And in response to all the amazing chasadim, we as Klal Yisrael could actually go towards Elohim Achirim, towards serving other gods, getting distracted by the prosperity, instead of redoubling our efforts, as so many of our tefillos seem to refer to during the Yom Narayim. We daven HaKadosh Baruch Hu, give us the prosperity so that I can serve you better, and I won't be distracted. Instead, I can be focused on you. And unfortunately, the exact opposite can happen. All the way to the point at the end of the third aliyah, Sur Yuladcha Teshi Vatishkach El Mecholecha. The Torah tells us at the end of this third aliyah that we forgot the rock that bore us. We forgot the rock that bore us, Teshi, Tishkach, says Rashi, and because of it we forgot HaKadosh Baruch Hu altogether. How could that be? That in response to incredible chesed and prosperity, we're no longer focused on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Kiviyachol, wants to continue to give us chesed. And not only are we forgetting Him, but we actually stop Him from doing more chesed for us. Rashi points out, "V'Rabbeinu darshu k'sheba lehetiv lachem." When HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to give us more chesed, atem machisim lefanav u'meteishim kocho lehetiv lachem. You're essentially holding His hands behind His back, Kiviyachol. When we sin in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we stop Him from doing even more chesed for us. And perhaps some of this happens already in this point between Yom Kippur and Sukkot. That yes, Yom Rishon of Sukkot is supposed to be Yom Rishon, the Chataim. That we're not saying all of the Avinu Malkeinus anymore. We're not saying Zachreinu L'chaim. Sifrei Chaim, Sifrei Mesim are no longer Psuchim L'fanecha. We no longer have the daunting task of ensuring that our lives are written in the Sifrei Chaim Tovim. The books are sealed, v'chasmeinu. And we hopefully did a great job and we get the chesed from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and perhaps some of us think, we're done. It's over. I got through that Seres Metshuva. Amazing. Dancing, L'shon HaBab Yerushalayim Habnuya, incredible. And that our efforts are no longer needed. But perhaps it's the exact opposite. That the dangers of receiving all of the chasadim from HaKadosh Baruch Hu is that we get so used to having the chesed that we no longer feel like we need. We no longer feel like we need to turn to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And it requires our efforts. Soloveitchik recounted that he once asked his Cheder Rebbe why on Tisha B'Av HaKadosh Baruch Hu is considered to be as if he's crying. Can't he just bring the Beis HaMikdash? And his Cheder Rebbe said, yeah, it doesn't work that way. That we're basically holding HaKadosh Baruch Hu's hands behind his back because, as his Cheder Rebbe pointed out, there's no such thing as an Isra Usa Le'ela without a matching and responding Isra Usa Le'Tata. We need an awakening below, so to speak, in our domain, in order to get an awakening above. It requires our efforts in this world to make sure that we not only have an awareness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but it's constant and with us at all times. Rav Lichtenstein, talking about this pasuk, actually once said And if you would add an al-chet for our generation, it would be al-chet shechatanu behesach hadas. That somehow there are moments in which I'm connected to Kadosh Baruch Hu, and then sometimes I'm totally distracted, totally not aware of His presence in my life. And perhaps this time, right now, ben azmanim, in between Yom Kippur, feeling like I accomplished something, I'm done, and Sukkot is a time in which there's some free time. Maybe we're all busy, but there's some free time, and perhaps we can get lost in all of the Chesed that Kadosh Baruch Hu just gave us yesterday, and just not think about the fact that we actually have so much more Chesed to receive. And we don't want to hold the Kadosh Baruch Hu's hands back. What an incredible warning for all of us at this time period. And Rav Lichtenstein pointed out, if you take a look at the end of Hilchos Tshuva, the Rambam doesn't stop at Hilchos Tshuva. With Hilchos Tshuva, he talks about Avas Hashem. And when he refers to Avas Hashem in Parak Asiri, in Hilchos Tshuva, in the third halacha, the Ketzad Hiya Ava Aruya. What does this Ava look like? That's Avas Hashem. What does it look like? He says, Ava Gedola Yisera Rabbo Azam Ad Me'od Ad Jetehei Nafsho Kshura Be'avas Hashem V'nimtza Shoga B'tamid Ki'ilu Choli Ava She'ein Daitem Penuya Me'avas Osa Isha Shu Shoga B'tamid, etc. Rav Chassim pointed out the best approach, the best response to Yom Kippur, to the Yom Naraim, is an awareness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is an Avas Hashem She'ein Kamochu. It's just the beginning of the Chesed, yes, and we don't want to hold back that Chesed from HaKadosh Baruch Hu to give us even more after Yom Kippur, but our job is not done. If the whole goal of Yom Naraim was Lashuv El Hashem, and hopefully we got there on Yom Kippur, we were able to definitely Lashuv Mechet. So isn't now the perfect time to double down our efforts? At the risk of, unfortunately, accomplishing what the Pasuk tells us, that we could forget our Rak, the one that bore us. As Rabbi Penner pointed out, Rechem, Rachamim, same word. HaKadosh Baruch Hu rebirthed us on Yom Kippur. At Sur, we're going to forget this Rak, the Rak that just rebirthed us. It seems like almost impossible in the wake of Yom Kippur. But inevitably, the next couple days, weeks, months, there will become a time. And it's worthy to remind us that the Rambam ends his Hilchos Tshuva with Avas Hashem. And the Torah, right after Yom Kippur, we're reading Parshat Haazinu, reminds us what can happen if we get so used to having all of the Chesed that we might feel like we no longer need to beg HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And so it's true, while the Sifrei Chaim and Sifrei Mesim are no longer Psuchim Lefanecha, we now have the opportunity to grasp hold of whatever it is, the Kisei HaKavod, so to speak, to hold on to the connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and to redouble our efforts in response to the chasadim that He has given us. Shabbat Shalom.